You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Hi, beautiful. Happy January. Can you believe we are here in another year? I hope that your new year is off to a great start. And if you are feeling all of the buzz around the resolutions and the new routines, and maybe if you're anything like me, a few weeks in, you start to see where the cracks are and you're like, oh, that thing that I thought I could magically do every day for the next 365 days, it's going to take a little bit of focus. If so, this episode is for you because there's one distinction that I keep coming back to and that I think we all know on some level, but sometimes it just takes hearing it in another way. And so I hope that's what this episode is for you. So what I want you to do is to think of whatever your resolution is or your goal for 2024, and then ask yourself, who is the woman who has already achieved that goal? So here are a few examples. Let's talk about health because that's a big one for 2024. So for example, we all have this dream of what our ultimate health avatar is like, right? Like we're like, okay, I'm the woman who wakes up at 6 a.m. and drinks my lemon water and goes on a walk or a 5-mile run. And so we all have these ideas in our head about who like healthy us is. But what I want you to think about is truly, who is the woman with your goal health? Whether that's a weight goal or a muscle goal or an inches goal or anything like that, or even just a feeling, ask yourself, what actually are her daily habits? How does she talk to herself? What does she say yes or no to? So maybe it's certain things around going out or feeling guilty around eating healthy or not. Maybe for her habits, maybe she gets up in the morning and she walks no matter how she feels, or she does her workout regardless of if it's a good day or if it's a bad day. Maybe she feels differently about it. Maybe she has thoughts like, I love to work out. I feel so energized when I work out. I get stronger every time. I love to see the different definition. Right? Because chances are, whoever that woman is with your dream, she has your dream because she has accumulated some behaviors that have turned her into that person. With all of our dreams, it's not so much about this achievement that we create as much as who we become along the way. The reason you don't have the dream yet is because you haven't become the woman who operates at a level to have that dream. And so you can almost reverse engineer this, where if you start to take the behaviors that the woman with your dream would take, then it's a matter of time until you become that woman with that dream. Okay, so for example, with social media, maybe you have this dream of having a certain social media account or presence. Maybe it's a business-oriented type dream. And so think about this woman with 10,000 followers or 100,000 or 1,000,000. What does she do? Does she post every single day? Does she have some mindset around showing up and being visible and sharing her life? Does she have a way that she handles it if someone leaves a mean comment, or that she's mentally and energetically prepared for it if someone does? Because it could block you if you're not, right? Like maybe you won't post because you're afraid of such a thing. This woman who has 1,000,000 followers probably has a different way that she shows up to social media and thinks about what she posts and when she posts and the kinds of content that she studies and ways she looks at the analytics and figures out what her people like. And so you can again reverse engineer it and think about, what is my goal in this area? And who is this woman who already has this? What are her habits? What is her mindset? What are her beliefs around doing this thing? What does she become a student of? What does she let go of? You're going to have to let go of some things as well, right? With your health goal, with a social media or business goal. With health, you may have to let go of feeling like dessert is the best thing in the world, or you may have to be able to make it in a way that still helps you reach your goals. And with business or social media, you may have to let go of worrying about what your brother or your high school friends think about your posts, and you may have to have a bigger vision instead. Okay, even with business, I know that many of you are starting a business or are into your first business, and maybe you're reaching for those 6-figure years, or maybe even 7-figure years. Okay, again, for someone to be a 6-figure business owner, how does she operate in her business? What kind of attention does she give to it? How often does she talk about it? How often does she sell? What kind of mindset practices does she have around being able to manage a big business? What kind of structures and offers does she have in place to be able to even handle that kind of influx of sales and to deliver a good product to everyone? All of this can help you, again, reverse engineer who you need to be in order to reach that goal. And at least for me, it helps take it out of this big vision type of thing. And it gives me some concrete daily action steps that I can take to become this woman. And so many times with a goal, it's again, not so much what you get from it, but it's who you become along the way. So once you get that goal, you may even find that the goal didn't mean as much as you thought it would, but now who you've become along the way. It's that you've become someone who has stepped into this new paradigm and this new belief system, this new confidence for herself, these habits that make her stronger and braver and bolder. So for you, whether it's a business goal, whether it's a health goal, whether it's a relationship goal or anything else, the process is simple. It's one, getting clear on what your vision is, what you ultimately really want to create this year. And then two, asking yourself and maybe journaling a little bit around, who is the woman who already has that goal? What are her practices, her habits, her beliefs? How does she carry herself? What does she think about? What does she fill her mind with, and what does she let go of? Who does she let go of? Sometimes there's some of that as well, where you can't be all things to all people. So you really are going to need to be in alignment with who you want to step into in this next stage, and who can come with you on that. So I hope this helps give you another perspective for thinking about this. It really helps me whenever I'm like, even just questioning myself and keeping it real. So I had something the other day where it was related to social media, and I was thinking, oh, like, I want to grow in this way this year. And then I had this thought of like, girl, you have not even posted in the last several days, which is fine, right? A whole episode recently was on how different seasons call for different things, but it helps you be honest with yourself too, for being like, is this how someone who has this certain goal shows up? And if not, it gives you the chance to course correct. So even with a health goal, right? If you're like, why do I not have these 6-pack abs? But also you know that you have been really enjoying yourself and indulging over the holidays. Okay, that's fine. There's seasons for that. Again, that's a beautiful, healthy thing, but also with balance in regards to what you do want to create in your life, right? And so it just gives you the chance to be honest and to objectively look at yourself in that way. If you're dreaming of this magic relationship, but you aren't putting yourself out there on dates, you're not even willing to do it, right? It's going to be hard for that situation in life to come to you, because it may be knocking at your door. Like, the person may be ready to meet you and dying to meet you. But if you don't put yourself in a place where that opportunity can happen and can meet you halfway, it's going to be hard for life to meet you. right? And so I just think it's a beautiful way to kind of check yourself as well. And yes, use it for goal setting and use it for what you want to create, but you can also use it anytime you feel like you are beating your head up against a wall and you're like, why don't I have this thing? Just gently ask yourself and take a look and honestly answer, am I behaving the way that someone with this goal would? And if not, usually your heart and your gut have some ideas and know better about what you're doing or not doing that you can tweak, and just use that as a learning experience. We're all growing and like evolving into this person that we want to become. And so it simply shows you the gap between where you are now into who you want to become and the steps that you need to take to get there, and how beautiful that in some ways our minds always know what those steps are and that they come into our awareness when we're ready for them. So just look at your life and what you want and get clear on who that woman is and how you can take a few steps to become her and to implement little practices in your daily life that bring you closer and closer to her, and by virtue of doing so, closer and closer to your dream. I hope you're having the best start to the new year. Let me know if this opens up any ideas for you. Share it on social if it does, and tag me at Hi Jessica Johnson so I can personally reshare and thank you for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening in. If you love this episode, I have 2 things you are going to love. One is a free copywriter training full of 5 steps to build a profitable copywriting business as your own boss, no matter how much experience you're starting with. Copywriting is what took me from a 9-to-5 to freedom as my own boss, to travel, choose my schedule, replace my corporate income, and have time to work on creative projects like this podcast. And I'd love to give other women the same opportunity. Another, of course, is my book, Your Bright Life. You can find it on Amazon or Audible, where I narrate the audiobook, so it's kind of like a podcast in book form. All of these things are in the podcast show notes. Thank you again for listening. I appreciate you and your review so much, and I'll see you back here next Thursday.